Okay, we have Dr. Jerold Chun today. Jerold is working in Sanford Burham Presby Medical Discovery Institute in La Jolla, California in USA. And he's going to be talking tomorrow, I guess.
That's correct,
Yeah,
in the morning.
In a talk titled Genomic Mosaicism and the Alzheimer's Disease Brain. Could you tell us briefly about what your talk is about?
Sure. I'll be talking about some both past work on genomic mosaicism and its relationship to Alzheimer's disease, and particularly some new information on how mosaicism is formed through what is called somatic gene recombination. And so genomic mosaicism involves looking at the individual genomes of single cells within the brain. And it turns out that, contrary to what we were taught in school, that not every single cell shares the same genome, but in fact they have a distinct genome. And that's at the level of the DNA sequence. So that mosaicism, it turns out, can be changed in a variety of different ways. And one of the ways is through a very special type of process that has the term called somatic gene recombination. Somatic means that you don't pass it on to your children, it just occurs in you. And gene recombination means that instead of having the standard 2 copies, one from your mom, one from your dad, of a given gene, you can actually take one and turn it into many more copies of that particular gene. And so this is a process that is occurring in our normal brain. And what we have observed is that this process can become dysregulated in Alzheimer's disease. And that has a number of interesting implications that I'll discuss.
Okay, thank you. And you've been doing Alzheimer's research, for a long time, and probably you've been asked, from people, when we will be able to cure Alzheimer's disease, and what's your response usually to that type of question?
Yes, well, it's certainly a tough problem, but it's a very important medical problem. So, for example, in the United States alone, there's about 6 million individuals that have Alzheimer's disease, and worldwide it's thought to be the most common cause of dementia. Up to this point, the only major risk factor for the most common forms of Alzheimer's disease that account for, in the upper 90s, perhaps as many as 99% of the cases, that's given the name sporadic Alzheimer's disease. And there's really no explanation for how this disease occurs. There's no what we call disease-modifying therapy. There are no medicines that really are going to, say, change its process. So that's something that we're very interested in understanding, both how it comes about and then how we can actually treat it. And we think that we're making some progress in that area.
Okay, thank you. And you see many young faces in this conference site.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and to them, do you have any advice about doing science and probably life in general?
Well, science is at its most basic level is the most precise description of nature that we have. And so what we're all striving to do is to understand nature and then to share that understanding with the rest of the community. And so trying to get truth out of your research and developing also, I think, a passion for it, where you really love doing it, it's not work anymore, are two aspects that can make science really fulfilling, but also really valuable for both the individual and society as well. I'd say when getting started, you want to find something that captivates you. What are you really interested in? And then also keeping at least some aspect in mind about what's it good for. Although, of course, you can't look into the future. But there's so many important problems that we face today in both science and medicine that there's no shortage of different areas that one can study. When getting going, you've got your life ahead of you to pursue, and finding that, quote, balance can be challenging, but that will change at different points in your life. And I think when you're getting started, you have more both energy and time to really focus on the science itself. And so really getting deeply involved in it is probably the best way to enter science and then continue it later on.
Fantastic advice. Well, thanks for your time today. And I hope you'll enjoy the rest of your stay in Korea.
Oh, I will absolutely do that.
Thank you, Dr. Chun. Thank you.
Thank you.